Hello, I'm Dr. Alexandre Amato, a vascular surgeon at the Amato Institute. Today, I'll address a question from Instagram about lipedema. The comment suggested that it's a disease for the wealthy, which deeply moved me. I believe it's important to discuss this and even create a video on the topic to provide assistance. Let's commence now. Talking about lipedema, one of the treatments is surgery. And surgery is costly. It's a relatively expensive surgery. It may or may not be covered by insurance. I've had success with some plans, some reimbursements worked out, but it's not for everyone. So we have to prepare for a private surgery and relatively expensive. Now, if you see surgery as the only treatment option for lipedema, it's obvious that you'll see lipedema as a disease for the wealthy. So to treat the disease, the only solution is surgery. Expensive surgery, so only the rich can treat it. But it's not like that. First, surgery is not the only treatment. Surgery is a tool for treatment. Obviously, to a good hammer, every screw is a nail. If you only have surgery as treatment, it's the only thing you can or will do. It's the only thing you can or will offer. It will end up being expensive. Now, lipedema has much more to do with self-awareness, lifestyle, diet, which are things that have no cost. So we don't need to look at the disease that way. We have to look at the disease with all the aspects it presents. Surgery will at some point be recognized by the SUS, but that might take time. It's starting to be recognized by insurance companies, so it's hard to know which insurance will accept it, which plan will accept it. But we have to understand that it's just one of the tools in the whole process of self-awareness. I've mentioned in previous videos that 11% of women have lipedema, but we don't see 11% of women desperately looking for a solution to their problem. Why? So this question blends with the initial question, if it's a rich person's disease. So 11% of the population, I'm not talking about 11% of the rich, it's 11% of the general population. The C, disease affects all women uniformly. So what happens to those 11% affected who aren't seeking help? Are they okay? Usually they find their balance in some way. Over time, they discovered something in their diet that was harmful, removed the trigger, found exercises that benefit them, discovered meditation, yoga, Pilates, anything that helped them manage the disease. And being managed, they aren't seeking help at the moment. So many of these people found all this, sometimes even on their own. So it's possible to go through this process of self-discovery alone. Obviously, it will take much longer to reach the result, and obviously, you won't know how much you can improve. Sometimes you achieve a 10% improvement in one aspect and already think you're fine, not knowing you can achieve more. But look, many women are managing without spending much on it. When we talk about lifestyle, then exercises, many of the exercises can be done without major costs. It's obvious that exercises targeted for lipedema, like aquatic exercises, or Pilates, yoga, might have some cost. But a lot can be done without an excessive cost. So obviously, access to a pool, access to water might not be so easy depending on the city you live in, but other people who live by the beach, for example, might have much easier access to water. So water exercises, which are essential, aren't necessarily expensive. Now, about the diet. The anti-inflammatory diet, initial or other diets that have been described for lipedema, they will end up increasing the cost, simply because of a very basic thing, that the foods that are most harmful are the cheapest foods. This applies to everyone, whether they have lipedema or not. So if you're saying, oh geez, lipedema is a disease for rich people. No. Look, obesity is also caused by unhealthy foods, and unhealthy foods are the cheapest. So when we think about carbohydrates, wheat, gluten, milk, which are common inflammatory foods in the population, not necessarily for you, but which are common inflammatory foods, they are very widely available. It's easy to find. There's a bakery on every corner, and if we look for food without wheat, without gluten, it can end up being a bit more expensive, but we can improve a lot of this by making our own food at home. So when we make our own food, when we know the source of the food, when we choose the foods at the supermarket and not on the street at a restaurant or at fast food places, we can already start selecting healthier foods that aren't necessarily more expensive. So this means a lifestyle change, and a lifestyle change that doesn't necessarily have to be more expensive. Meditation is another aspect that can also be completely free. Of course, you might have someone to guide you, someone to help. It might be much easier, especially at the beginning. But look, even during this quarantine, we saw a lot of people starting to do group meditation groups, and this helped a lot too, and in a completely free way. And another aspect of lipedema and all other diseases is that information is free. Nowadays, access to information is very easy. Look, I recently had a patient whose lipedema diagnosis was made 20 years ago, when few people made the diagnosis. 20 years ago, it was very difficult to find information about the disease. Today, it's easier. Just go online, go on YouTube, and follow my channel. By the way, if you're not following, take the opportunity and click below to follow my channel. So the information is offered very easily and for free. So I don't see lipedema as a rich person's disease, but as a disease of the informed person. That, yes, it's the person who will end up seeking knowledge, because despite that not all doctors diagnose lipedema, it's not so easy to get a formal diagnosis of lipedema. There are few doctors currently researching, working in the changing field. Our group has been doing this for many years, and we see that lately interest in the subject has grown, which is very good. So we see that soon more people will be getting diagnosed earlier, which will prevent the disease from progressing. If you get diagnosed at an early stage, you won't necessarily reach the final stage of the disease, as long as you take all the necessary precautions early on. Despite the information being widely accessible, it's a double-edged sword, because there's the bioindividuality of patients. So what works for one might not necessarily work for another. So be very careful with invasive procedures without consulting a specialist. And I see this very, very often. Patients with lipedema end up seeking a million aesthetic treatments beforehand that don't end up working and cost a lot. So that money thrown away, that's what I think was expensive. Now, if you consider the bioindividuality, you seek out information, understand your body, and do what works, the expense will obviously be much lower. So another key word is self-awareness. So again, I don't believe that lipedema is a disease of the rich. It's a disease of informed people and of self-awareness, knowing how your body works. Self-awareness you can achieve on your own. Obviously, with professional help, you reach a better result more easily. This focused self-awareness will help direct you towards a lifestyle that can alleviate the symptoms of lipedema e diminuir a progressão da doença. So, since lipedema doesn't have a ready-made medication, like take this little pill and it disappears. It's a medical consultation that takes time. It's a medical consultation where we need to provide a lot of information. We have to help the patient find their path. So it's not a quick consultation like any other disease where, oh, you made the diagnosis, take this pill here and it's solved. So it takes the doctor's time too. It's laborious, it's costly for the doctor as well to care for lipedema, so not everyone will accept to take care of this type of problem. Because, look, in a consultation with someone who is used to a schedule, seeing patients every 10 minutes, they won't be able to provide the necessary amount of information to care for lipedema. So, this indeed can lead to an increase in cost. To find a specialist dedicated to the subject, si dedichi ao assunto. So, but it takes time, it takes information, it takes self-awareness, it takes a lifestyle change. I see the cost as more personal effort, more dedication in treatment rather than necessarily the money itself. So don't think that lipedema is a rich person's disease. It's not. It's a disease for those who are informed, for those who seek self-knowledge, and for those who are primarily dedicated. The treatment requires dedication. And if you are dedicated, you will definitely achieve an exponential improvement in your quality of life. Did you like this video? Subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, check out our playlist of lipedema videos, which has a ton of free information there, and see you next time.